This is Project Red Pill, where each episode we dive into a shocking and hidden business tactic and a mind-bending story. In this episode, we're going to dig deep into Starbucks' Gold Card Rewards program to see how they got their customers to voluntarily give them billions of dollars in interest-free loans. Is it genius? Or maybe a little too strategic? Then we're going to try and figure out what was going on with a guy named Andrew Carlssin, who went a perfect 126 for 126 trading stocks. He turned $800 into $350 million in just 2 weeks. And then, after being arrested, he claimed to be from the future, right before disappearing forever. Now, you have a choice. You can take the blue pill, not watch this video, go on, live your life as programmed, or you can take the red pill, watch the entire episode, like, subscribe, and see how far the rabbit hole goes.
Take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You guys want to hear about a time-traveling stockbroker? So let's set the scene. It's early 2003. The stock market is bouncing back after the dot-com bubble, and investors are more than a little cautious. Now, no one's making big, risky moves. Well, nobody except this one guy, Andrew Carlssin. So picture this. A modest investor who somehow, in just 2 weeks, manages to turn a mere $800 into an astounding $350 million. So how did he do it? Insider trading, crazy stroke of luck, or was he a time traveler? So here's how the story goes. Andrew Carlssin appeared on the FBI's radar after making a series of high-risk, high-reward trades that were, frankly, just too good to be true. In a market still recovering from massive losses, he was buying stocks others were totally avoiding and timing his trades with incredible precision. Now, out of 126 trades that he made, every single one of them was profitable. It's never happened before, and it's never happened since. So, you heard that right. Every single trade that he made was incredibly profitable. Now, as anyone with a basic understanding of the stock market knows, that this kind of success is nearly impossible. So it's never happened before. So naturally, the FBI began to take notice. They decided to investigate this mystery investor who seemingly came out of nowhere. They even went so far as to arrest him under suspicion of insider trading. Now they look into this guy, and this is January of 2003, and they can't find anything on this guy prior to December of 2002. It's weird. So he just came out of nowhere, or he's using a fake name. I don't know. So when they arrest him, basically three things are likely to happen. One of three things. One, the person denies. Two, they take the fifth. They plead the fifth and don't say anything. Or three, they confess, yeah, I had this information and shouldn't have acted on it, but I did. But what's weird in this situation is, instead of doing any of that, he confessed to being a time traveler from the year 2256. 2256. Yeah, you heard that right. A time traveler from 2256. According to the alleged confession, Carlssin told the FBI that he had traveled back in time and used his knowledge of future stock movements to make his fortune. He knew every market fluctuation, every boom, every bust, and he used it to his advantage. Now, this is the part where you're probably thinking, yeah, right. And he wouldn't be alone. The FBI agents thought the same thing, but Carlssin stuck to his story. He didn't try to wiggle out of it or change his tune. He even doubled down by claiming that if they were lenient on him, that he would tell them how to create the cure for AIDS and the location of Osama bin Laden. That's crazy. That he was going to provide inside information on upcoming technological breakthroughs if they were lenient on him. But despite all of this, he wouldn't or couldn't reveal anything about the time travel and how that worked. According to him, that if he disclosed that technology or process behind time travel, that it would get into the wrong hands and change the course of history in a negative way. He warned that if such knowledge fell into the wrong hands, it could disrupt the entire fabric of history with potentially catastrophic results, was the exact language. So here we have an alleged time traveler claiming knowledge of some of the biggest mysteries and technological secrets of our time, but the FBI wasn't buying it. They continued their investigation, looking into his background, his bank accounts, anything that might verify his story. But what they found was nothing at all on this guy. It was as if Andrew Carlssin didn't exist before 2002. Birth records, no social security number, no permanent address, nothing. He had appeared out of nowhere, which only fueled the mystery. And soon after his arrest, things got even stranger. Somebody allegedly posted his bail. His bail was $1 million. I mean, not everybody, especially in 2003, is walking around with that kind of money that they can post $1 million bail. And then, after he was bailed out, he completely vanished. He was never seen or heard from again. No records of a trial, no evidence of where he went, and not even confirmation of who paid his bail. So naturally, because some of these things were missing, it led to a lot of speculation. Was Carlssin truly from the future? Or was he just a very clever con artist? Some believe he may have been picked up by fellow time travelers, whisked away to protect him in the future from any further complications. Others think he simply made up the story to avoid jail time, then someone helped him disappear. So what are we left with after this? Was Andrew Carlssin a time traveler, or was he just a very clever fraud? Or maybe he was simply a figment of somebody's imagination, a modern myth created to entertain and mystify. At the end of the day, the truth about Andrew Carlssin may never be known, but his story serves as a fascinating exploration of human curiosity. Our desire for wealth and our fascination with the possibility of bending time and space, that our addiction to cutting corners and getting rich quick. But it isn't interesting that it's kind of a strange story to completely make up, which all I'm saying is that maybe there is a grain of truth in this. Maybe there was somebody that made a lot of trades in a row and they looked into him, couldn't prove anything. Or maybe, they arrested somebody, he posted his own bail because he had $350 million and then disappeared. I think that happens probably more than you'd think, is that somebody gets in trouble with the regulators or law enforcement and they go on the run, right? I mean, there is a top 10 most wanted. But because he went so long without them actually identifying who he was, he can't be listed on the top 10 most wanted because they don't have his real name. They don't have his last known location. They don't have his background, social security number, or anything like that. So they don't know anything about him. Which brings up another question, is I wonder how he was making these trades. I mean, because to be a stockbroker, you have to be licensed. You have to have your, Series 7? So the only other way that he would be making these trades is like through an E-Trade account or something like that. I'm not sure how stringent the rules were in 2003, but now, you have to have a Series 7 and it's highly regulated and scrutinized. You have to get fingerprint. You have to submit your fingerprints and background checks and all that just to get the license. So I'm curious of how he was making these trades. I couldn't find anything on it, but I do find it interesting that this story has lasted for so long. It's going on north of 20 years now. I don't know. Strange. Well, I want to know what you guys think. Was Andrew Carlssin a time traveler, a con artist, or just a product of the tabloid imagination? Love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment, share your theories, and let's keep the conversation going. Today, we're diving into the world of Starbucks and the hidden business genius behind their Gold Card Rewards program. All right, let's start with the basics. You might have noticed that Starbucks really encourages us to preload money onto our cards or app. Why? Well, it's not just to make ordering quicker, although that is a benefit. When you preload, you're actually giving Starbucks a tax-free loan. You're lending Starbucks your money, interest-free, voluntarily. And they can use it however they like. Here's how it works. Every time you load $20 or $50 onto your Starbucks app or gift card, that money sits in Starbucks bank accounts as a liability, meaning they owe you that coffee or that food whenever you decide to redeem it. But until you do, they're free to use that money and they don't have to pay it back until you cash in on your lattes and cappuccinos and sandwiches and cake. Now, what's Starbucks doing with all that cash? Think of the potential of what a company like that could do with billions of dollars of free dollars. Talking it north of $2 million. I'm sorry, $2 billion. Preloaded money or abandoned gift card money. Interest-free loans, $2 billion. Where all the other companies are going to Chase Bank or JP Morgan or at Bank of America or Wells Fargo or whatever, getting these loans at 10, 15%. And while the money sits there waiting to be spent, Starbucks can invest it, fund operations, or simply improve their cash flow without taking out loans or dealing with interest or anything that goes along with dealing with a bank. It's brilliant because Starbucks has basically transformed a loyalty program into direct cash flow engine. They found a way to get customers to fund their operations voluntarily. Now, let's talk about something else really clever here. Breakage. I don't know if you're familiar with that term or not. Breakage is the term for gift card balances that never get redeemed. So when people forget to use up their cards, lose them, or just let them sit indefinitely, that money becomes pure profit for Starbucks. If you get a $20 gift card and you go spend $14 of it, then you never use the other $6. Pure profit. Let's put it into perspective. In recent years, Starbucks reported around $215 million in breakage revenue. That's just from people forgetting to spend the money on their gift cards. Instead of owing customers coffee, that money goes just directly to Starbucks' bottom line. Now, you might be wondering, is that fair? Well, after all, Starbucks is encouraging people to load money, knowing that some of it will never be redeemed. But here's the thing, they're not hiding it, and customers still see the benefit. If you're an active user on their rewards plan, you're getting free drinks, birthday treats, rewards. It is a win-win. Starbucks boosts their cash flow, and customers enjoy perks. Now, so my problem is not, if I have a problem, the issue with this type of program is not that one or the other is getting cheated or one is winning and one is losing. The issue is how it's advertised and what their true motive is. Right, so it's advertised as all of these perks and benefits for the customer, but the true motive is we want to all these tax-free loans. Right, there's big tax-free loan, but the true brilliance here lies in how Starbucks has structured it. They've combined psychology, finance, and convenience to create a system that serves multiple purposes. The promise of rewards is enticing. It keeps customers loyal, encourages them to spend money, and gets them to preload funds on their card. And since Starbucks already knows a portion of those funds will never be redeemed, they can estimate how much the breakage is going to be in extra revenue, giving them even more financial stability. So what can we take from this case study? For businesses listening out there, this model it's definitely worth studying. Starbucks has turned loyalty into a financial strategy, not just a marketing tool. Imagine if you could build a similar system in your business, where customers willingly prepay for goods or services, improving your cash flow and letting you operate with less reliance on loans or investors. Escrow is another example of that. But if you're thinking about implementing something like this, here are a few takeaways to keep in mind. One, you need to offer real value. For a program like this to work, customers need to feel they're getting something in return. Starbucks offers rewards, free drinks, and a convenient ordering experience. Whatever your business is, your program needs to provide genuine perks to keep people engaged. Understand breakage laws. This is a little interesting twist. Breakage isn't always pure profit. In some places, unredeemed gift card balances must be reported as unclaimed property and sent to the state, which kind of just makes me mad. If you're considering a similar approach, make sure you know the rules around your breakage laws in your state. 2, think like an investor. If you're receiving the cash up front, you don't just sit on it. Starbucks uses their prepaid funds strategically. They can invest in growth, cover operational costs, or even expand into new markets, open up new locations. So if you're thinking of following, this or a similar model, treat those funds with the same respect you would as if it came from a bank loan. I think that's the responsible thing to do with this type of revenue model. The Starbucks Rewards program is a case study in modern business genius. It's a powerful reminder that with a little creativity, companies can turn customer loyalty into a game-changing financial strategy. So next time you reload your Starbucks card, remember you're doing a little more than just buying coffee. You're part of a system that's redefining how businesses think about cash flow, customer loyalty, and profitability. All right, folks, that's it for today's episode. Let me know what you think. Are you inspired by Starbucks' approach, or do you find it a little too strategic for comfort? And if you're a business owner, would you ever consider setting up a similar system? Drop a comment, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you know of any other examples of other companies doing something like this or this exact thing, put it in the comments below, and I'll make sure to look into those as well. Thanks for tuning in to Project Red Pill. Until next time, keep your eyes open, question everything, and maybe consider grabbing that free cup of coffee while it's still there.
Take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.